Hi everyone, my name is Alexandra Steinberg and my final presentation will be on battery electric cars and the many effects that they have on the environment. I chose to focus on this technological solution because I have noticed the increase in battery electric vehicles and hybrid vehicles in all car brands over the last few years. My cousin who works for BMW was telling me that the company is making a push for electric vehicles and are advertising them as being the environmentally friendly option to our normal cars, which are called internal combustion vehicles. It is well known that passenger vehicles contribute a large amount of the greenhouse gases and other air pollutants that are polluting our planet. In 2018, more than 361,000 plug-in electric passenger vehicles were sold in the United States alone. A major part of this new trend for battery electric vehicles is due to President Biden and his recent plans. He has announced a plan to replace all government vehicles with electric models produced in the U.S., which addresses his promised climate change agenda. He also plans on investing in battery supply chains and factories to build electric vehicles. The average cost for a battery electric vehicle is between $30,000 to $40,000. This greatly limits the people who can afford to purchase these cars. However, there are many incentives, discounts, and rebates when purchasing these vehicles. The federal government offers a tax credit depending on the capacity of the battery of the car. By 2022, it is predicted that electric vehicles will cost the same as their counterparts. Long term, it only costs $300 to $400 a year to charge electric vehicles, which is much cheaper when comparing it to the $1,000 average that is spent on gas for cars. Car companies and world governments have been able to push the idea that electric vehicles are better for the environment by focusing on the fact that EVs produce zero tailpipe emissions since they do not produce exhaust. This leads to less climate change and smog than ICEVs since they produce fewer direct emissions. One study reports that ICEVs produce 5 to 6 metric tons of CO2 per year. So broadly speaking, BEVs have lower greenhouse gas emissions than ICEVs. When comparing percentages between BEVs to ICEVs, you can see a lot of pros. BEVs produce less greenhouse gases, volatile organic compounds, carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxide, and black carbon than ICEVs. As you can see, the standard electric car will only produce 35 to 42 metric tons of CO2 emissions in the vehicle's lifetime, which in comparison to gasoline cars, which produce 50 to 53 metric tons in the vehicle's lifetime, is a big difference. While BEVs offer greater local air quality than ICEVs due to the absence of vehicle exhaust emissions, BEVs come with their own environmental problems. Air pollutants are still being emitted during the upstream production stages, the raw materials and acquisition and processing stages, and the vehicle production stages. These emissions are higher than the ICEVs emissions during these stages. However, this problem can be curbed depending on the vehicle's owner and the electricity generation source they are using, as well as the lifetime vehicle miles traveled. However, like I said before, BEVs come with their own problems. They produce 15% more fine particle matter and 273% more sulfur oxides in comparison to ICEVs. This is due to battery production and the electricity generation source used to charge the batteries of the cars. The graph represents the sulfur oxide emissions in grams per vehicle kilometer traveled, averaged over the lifetime of the vehicle. The current major environmental problem is with the type of battery being used in the electric cars. Many times, lithium-ion batteries are used, which can be responsible for greater human toxicity and ecosystem based on the current mining and recycling technologies. When mining for lithium, 56% more water resources are being used. Increased freshwater ecotoxicity may result from the additional mining requirements needed to continue to make electric vehicles. The recycling industry for lithium-ion batteries is less developed than for lead acid in the United States. Currently, recycling rates for these batteries are less than 5%. Overall, battery electric cars will help with the air pollution and greenhouse gas problem that is currently plaguing Earth. Air pollution is at the forefront of many environmental issues at the moment, but battery electric cars come with a whole host of new environmental problems. There will be a new increase in emissions from battery production and electricity generation. So which is worse, battery and electricity emissions or tailpipe emissions? That is something that we will have to decide soon. On this slide are all of the citations that I used, but the main article that I used, if you wish to read more on this, is the third one, which is the environmental effects of battery electric and internal combustion vehicle engines. Thank you.